Here, I want to start at the most fundamental level. What is hip hop? And when you talk about hip hop, are we talking about a lifestyle? Is hip hop a worldview? Or for the uninitiated, what is hip hop? Because it's more than music. I've heard it described as music, breakdancing, graffiti. Those are kind of the iconic artistic things.
Right.
But I've also heard it described as a lifestyle or a worldview as well.
Right.
But for people who don't know, what is hip hop?
Right. Well,
and how old are you?
I'm 37.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you guys are right in that core demographic of young men are between 30 and
Right.
40.
So hip hop started in the late 70s. Africa Bambaataa is the guy that's notably given the name of the father of the culture. But yes, you hit it pretty good, Hal. It is breakdancing, it's graffiti, it's DJing, and the last element of hip hop was actually rapping. So what people think of as hip hop is actually the last thing added to the culture. It originally started in the late 70s. Africa Bambaataa was a ex-gang member in South Bronx of New York who left and went to Africa and had this kind of spiritual rebirth. He came back and he decided that he wanted to fight violence. But instead of using traditional matters, he wanted to party and have breakdancing competitions. So instead of the gangs fighting over turf and territory, they began breaking, and he started a crew now that's international and worldwide called the Zulu Nation. So that's kind of part of what we want to do with the Hip Hop Forum, is educate on what really hip hop is, because it's kind of got commercialized, and mainstream radio, mainstream media doesn't always give the most accurate depiction of what the culture is. But it's a way of living, it's a way of thinking. First generation hip hop artists now are in their 50s and 60s. So it's been around for a while. And I think it's going to be here for quite a long time.
So if you grew up listening to Run DMC,
Yes.
right, which probably during its time was the most popular and crossover
Yes.
type hip hop.
Yes.
That may be the connection
Yes.
that the culture writ large makes to
Right.
hip hop. These days, though, you have they're all different types of artists in the hip hop community.
Oh, yeah.
So you have purely commercial acts, and then
Right.
you have conscious
Right.
acts, and everything in between. There's this whole Southern movement that's going
Right.
on now, and there's a big debate between, real hop versus, real hip hop. It's funny how.
Go ahead, Hal.
No. I'm just,
Barbershop talk. Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is, it's very interesting how with any movement or culture, there is a form of conservatism that creeps in,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you have old school hip hop guys
Fundamentalists.
who say this young stuff, they say a Fetty Wap, that's
Right.
not real hip hop.
Right.
Or they'll say the closest thing you have to something real now is J. Cole or
Kendrick. Yes.
right?
Yes.
But this other stuff that Young Thug or who, that's not real. And you hear these elder statesmen of hip hop, they actually sound like your parents.
Right. Right.
When I was coming up,
Right.
all I needed was a break beat.
Right.
Now, so there's a dynamic thing, and I guess the only reason I bring that up is because if you don't know anything about hip hop, you see it as one monolithic
Right.
thing,
Right.
and it has so much nuance and dimension to it. So that's why I wanted just a little bit of background.
Right.
So now, what happens at the Hip Hop Forum?
Well, contrary to popular belief, there's no rapping. There's actual discussion. Sometimes we watch videos, but we try to tie in what's going on with the community. The 4 principles Africa Bambaataa laid down for hip hop was love, peace, unity, and having fun. That's what he wanted hip hop to be. Nowadays, we turn on the radio, that's not what we hear. We don't hear about peace, we don't hear about unity. We hear about having fun, but it's, kind of in a self-destructive way. And so we talk about what is the music saying about what's going on? Is music a reflection of reality, or is reality a reflection of music? A lot of our culture, when you deal with the inner city African American, like, you know, they have two dreams. They either want to be an entertainer or an athlete. And we all know the statistics of being an athlete, and it's very hard to be a successful entertainer as well. So we talk about hip hop. First of all, we talk about hip hop. There's other aspects of hip hop, the business side of hip hop. There's also the entrepreneurs, just the education of it. So, like, for instance, Andre will probably go into this a little bit more. We're talking about hip hop and terrorism. A lot of people won't connect the two, but as Andre alluded to earlier, like, hip hop has been a group that has been targeted, just as Muslims, just as blacks, just as Christians, just as any other group of people. And we've been labeled by, just as you said, by what the masses are receiving. So we feel like we have to educate properly all the layers of hip hop and actually really talk about what it was intended to do is really one of my main goals.
Here's something that I wanted to ask you guys about. Their next hip hop forum is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at the Beck Cultural Exchange Center. Is it open to everyone?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's open to everyone. Yeah,
Sure
always.
is.
All right,
Free
so-
event.
And what's interesting is the way hip hop culture has become pop culture,
Mm-hmm.
and it is being embraced in every sector of American society.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to ask you guys about